we have a little moment now for you to reflect on what you may like to ask questions on, because yippee, it's our live panelist time. We are super blessed to have two of our speakers be able to join us live, which is pretty amazing. So we have the wonderful Vicky Johnson back from the Museum of Happiness. She's literally done a dash from her event to join us. And also the wonderful Galia Tyano Ronen. Oh gosh, I always get my tongue twisted around your surname. So sorry, Galia. And we have the pleasure of their wisdom now. So please pop in the chat any questions that you might have around this topic of kindness. It can be anything. We're going to keep this nice and broad. So please feel free to pop any thoughts, maybe a reflection that they can just speak about. I'll hold court as best I can. I just want to just check. There's a couple of comments that came in. Pam saying, Catherine, I loved your wording. I now have an image of melting the wall of shame. Shame does seem to erect a thick, hard, indestructible wall between us and the rest of humanity. Chris's work is essential. Absolutely. That's so lovely. Thank you, Pam. It really does. This is the thing. We don't need a sledgehammer. We can go gently with all of these challenges. And as we know, shame is, I think, one of the hardest, as Chris and Barbara both said. Our pleasure, Melanie. Thank you for being here. Nancy saying, I think he put his book on hold for the time being. Yes, I know, we're all awaiting that book. One day, I think, Nancy, one day. And Eliana saying she loved the statement, self-compassion is a pot of gold we don't know we are sitting on. Yes, that really resonated with me as well. And this is the magic, isn't it? We have it in our grasp. We just need to practice. Thank you, Julie, for being here. I know some of you need to go, but we will be sharing just this wonderful opportunity to connect live and in person with two of our wonderful speakers now. So without further ado, I would really love to introduce, I know you know them, but it's really nice to open the doors to our two speakers, Vicky and Galia, who will join us live now to share their thoughts, reflections on kindness, world kindness, cultivating kindness, kindness for yourself, kindness for others, kindness for the planet, kindness for the animals, anything that we want to share and talk about. And I know some questions have come in on the Q&A chat. Let me just start with that. Oh, let's just check. Vicky, are you there, darling? I know you've arrived.
Yes, I'm here. It says, oh, here we go. It's coming on now. Here we go.
Hey. Welcome. Hope you've had a wonderful event.
Oh, we have.
Oh, that's so good. So our first question that's come in from Maria is, for each speaker, what is your personal favorite practice that helps you embody kindness? Great question, Maria. Mm-hmm. So let's start off with that. Vicky, Galia, I don't mind who goes first.
That's a really good one. So as soon as my alarm goes off in the morning, instead of going on WhatsApp or social media or email, I literally just sit up in bed and take some mindful deep breaths. And I meditate for 5 to 10 minutes or however long I've got, and that feels like a really great act of kindness for myself and everybody else around me, because when I meditate, I'm much kinder, I'm more compassionate, I am less irritable. And so that's something straight away. And then I ask for help. I pray. I say, you know, dear God, dear universe, and it's whoever it is for you. Help me be an instrument of love, peace, and kindness today. Help me be of service. So that's something that I do. And I do a little gratitude practice. You know, what am I grateful for? And what's my intention for today? And it is usually to try and be an instrument of love, of peace, of service in somehow, some way. So that's my little morning ritual. It takes about 10 minutes in total. And if I don't do it, I really notice the difference. I notice that my inner critic is much louder. I'm much more likely to have an emotional outburst or get impatient with somebody. So everybody else around me benefits when I do those practices in the morning. So that's me.
Beautiful. Thank you, Vicky. Lots of gems there. Over to you, Galia.
Well, it's great to be after Vicky because I can say I do the same thing and that's it. Finished.
Ditto.
Because I do. I do just the same thing. Maybe the order is not just the same, but yeah, totally this. So I will just add to what you just mentioned. I feel that for me, just being grateful for everything is one practice, but the other is really wishing well to others and to myself, like the loving kindness in meditation. And I really feel that when I am blessing, especially people that I'm in conflict with, it's just a tremendous change in my life. So I bless myself first, just feel inside, what do I need right now, today, for this day? What do I really, really need? And then I bless myself with that. And afterwards, I just take the same blessings and just send them out to the world, and especially to people that I'm in conflict with. And I'm amazed every time how this actually influences the relationship that is actually out there with these people. So for me, this is one of my favorite metta. Yeah.
Thank you, Galia. Interestingly, my next question was going to be, and what about when you're in conflict with someone? What about that really annoying neighbor that won't let the dog in? You know, something that minor. I find it difficult then to open my heart to that person because they are not being kind to the neighbors, including myself. So yes, and of course that can expand to much more serious, big things when you are in conflict, whether it's in intimate relationship or at work. I know I've certainly come across, had my fill of challenges with colleagues at work over my career. So any other top tips around this living, as Nirmala said at the beginning, you know, our intention is to live kindly in everyday life. How do we do that, really?
I live in an area, like in a town that is known for having neighbor problems. Like, I think one of the top 10 in our country. So this is like amazing. And what I feel is the first go-to is just to put a hand on my heart, or another supportive touch, can be anything, and just talk to myself, having a self-compassion break, but even a very, very tiny short one, like a snippet of it, saying something like, dear God, you're suffering right now. Like, this is like really hard. Like, let's breathe together. Let's be together. I'm here for you. And this will pass. This will pass. And I'm here with you. And just blessing myself with patience if I need that, or strength if I need that, whatever I need. So this is the first thing. But then actually, I find that the more I practice self-loving kindness in everyday life to conflictual relationships that happen, doesn't need to be a very dramatic thing. It can be a very small thing. Then when I arrive to a situation like that, it's easier in a way to open the heart to, after being with myself and for myself, than just wishing well to whoever is there. And this is amazing because this is, for me, a self-compassionate act, because I feel less tension in myself and less constructed like that. And it's like opening and warming here, all this area. And then I cannot be angry or frustrated or whatever. It's just this amazing influence on our physical body. So bless the hormones. This is what I can say.
Yeah, that really reminds me of James Barr's saying about the constriction and the expansion. You sort of just embodied that. You just sort of put that into real life practice.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
I love that. Some really similar threads. I think realizing that we can't control the external, we can't control people, we can't control what's going on. All we can really control is ourselves and our response. So looking at what is this shining a light on in me, if I'm getting really, someone's acted, they're just being them. It's really not personal most of the time. What is this shining a light on in me? And is there an opportunity for me to work on myself here? So if someone's being very difficult, I'm like, okay, what virtue is this person been sent to me for to help me strengthen? Is it patience? Is it compassion? Is it boundaries? What is it? I have quite a lot of difficult people in my life, actually. And now I'm like, I think it's really easy to slip into this place of like, oh, why? And this again. And actually now I try to be like, okay, this is a patience workout. This is a compassion workout. And I can't change them. All I can do is put the energy into how can I respond with wisdom and kindness and compassion as best I can.
Thank you, Vicky. What's interesting is the next question that's coming into the Q&A actually specifically asks, how would your kindness practice help you navigate or withdraw from toxic family members? So it's quite rather elegant that it's also this conversation is unfolding rather perfectly. So can you expand on that, if you don't mind? Both of you let's just keep this conversation flowing. I'm sure we've got lots of we can mention there.
I will just say one thing about words. I feel that words mean a lot. And when we pray, as Vicky said, or when we wish someone or ourselves, we use words. And words have a lot of power. There's a beautiful story about, I think it's a Sufi story about a healer that is coming, and there's an ill child. And he's coming and he's whispering something over the child's head and body and says he will be okay. And he just talks. And then there's a man there questioning him, teasing him a bit, saying, you with your words, do you really think that words will heal this child? And so the man just looks at him and says something like, well, I think you understand nothing in life. And that person gets really, really angry and red. And then the healer says, so if my words right now influenced you so much, why wouldn't they influence and heal that child? And so I really feel that this, when we say toxic, the word toxic by itself, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying that when we use it already, it is creating something in us that is this just smaller sense of self. I'm talking about ourselves. It's just diminishing our light. And so when we are just saying, okay, there's something in the relationship, like I feel there's something there I cannot figure out. I really wonder what it is, like bringing curiosity to it. Then the attitude is already a kind attitude. It's already a compassionate attitude. So this by itself is already making some change. And then, of course, there's there are all kind of practices we can talk about, but I feel that just for the beginning, just even using words that are kinder to ourselves and others is important. And of course, we need to have our boundaries when these are very harming, abusive relationships, and this can, of course, happen. I'm not saying no. Of course, we need to protect ourselves, but just paying attention to the words we're using.
Oh, that's giving me goosebumps. I have got quite a lot of experience with this. It's been a journey that I've struggled with quite a lot in my life, and I'm still on a journey with it. Both my parents and a lot of the people in my family are very traumatized, and often, so just take my parents, for example, because they have gone through a lot of trauma. My life was traumatic growing up, and I spent a lot of time kind of working through that trauma. And I think, like Galia was saying, it's really easy, and I've definitely slipped into that place myself over the years of, okay, these people are toxic, but actually it's the behavior, it's the dynamic, it's not the person as such, even though sometimes it really feels like it is. Something that has really helped me is to really envision them as a little child. People that are acting difficult are often hurt, they're traumatized. There's a reason that they're showing up with difficult behavior. It's often because they haven't had the love that they need, or their needs met, or some kind of, they've gone through something difficult. And seeing them as a child has really helped me. The people where I'm like, oh my goodness, they're so toxic, has really helped me kind of grow compassion. Another thing that has helped is, again, I can't change them. All I can do is work on my response. So there's certain people in my family that being in their energy field dysregulates my nervous system. No matter how much positivity or kind of prayer or whatever I go to before being in the company of certain people in my family, I feel my inner resources lower. So I have to be really strategic of what I do before and after spending time with people that are very difficult, that lower my energy and my inner resources. It's kind of a double dose, a sandwich of self-care at either side. And I think boundaries are really important too. I know how long I can go and spend time with people and be the love that I want to be. And I know at what point I am kind of not how I want to show up. So I have to be strategic around my time. So there's a few little things that have helped me. I can really understand and have compassion for anyone that has quite difficult people in their family, or behavior, not the people as such.
Oh, that's really powerful. Thank you both very much. I'm sure Jen, who asked that question, has got a lot of gold out of that and much to reflect upon. I do love your sandwich of self-care. I really believe that my self-compassion practice has really helped me become aware of what I need, so that I don't just go in with my heart wide open and then experience some tough stuff and then drag myself home and then have to, spend a fair bit of time patching myself up. Now I'm really much clearer. I mean, I know obviously Kristen Neff talks about it, and her book Fierce Self-Compassion has been very helpful for me. Creating boundaries, still a work in progress around boundaries, but to definitely be mindful, be aware that certain behaviors may show up, and that they're not personal. Sounds a bit crazy because they're being, usually targeted at myself, or, that's my experience when I'm walking into a particular family situation. And more as my heart grows stronger, more connected with my practice, grounding, staying steady, then I don't necessarily get sucked into as James calls it, the soap opera, the drama, the stuff, and the very painful, potentially very painful words. And that act of being kind to myself is that I will create some space, is that I will prepare myself. And not by putting up armor. I'm a big believer in actually not doing that, because then no one can access our hearts, and I can't access my heart to share my love. But to be aware, where do I feel safest? If I'm going into a space that I don't feel safe, then what can I do to not even protect myself? That sounds again like a barrier. I want to keep those barriers down as best I can, but to be aware and be discerning about how I manage myself and the situation. And I love the self-care sandwich, so that I know that I'm not going to go straight into something else, that I have space to tend to myself again. Lovely.
And there's a possibility also, Catherine, when I hear you talk about an armor, and I see this beautiful shawl you have on a shoulder that I'm looking at since you wore it. And I'm just thinking about something softer. Like if we can imagine like light, beams of light, that are really soft, that are like enveloping all of us, our body. So we go into a situation and we are protected by these beams of light. And these beams of light can be cultivated in so many ways. When we heard Nemo's, I'm sorry, but Nemo is a very good friend of mine, so I have to talk about him. Nemo's music, for me, for example, but maybe for others, music is so powerful and bringing so much the possibility to feel connected to everyone and to be soothed by it. And so this is creating actually resilience. And the more we do before, right? Before is our life, most of our life. When we do whatever is good for us, what we feel is wonderful. For me, it's like walking in nature. This is such a powerful resource for me. And taking photograph or arts or whatever it is, and then taking all like arts and nature and beams of light and everything and entering the situation you're talking about, Vicky. And then I'm not alone. I have all these friends with me, and they are all there with me, and they envelop me in many, many ways. And then there's a possibility to deal with it or not. And if not, maybe the best thing is just, as you said, go away. Say, okay, thank you very much. Feeling wonderful seeing you, and goodbye. And just go away and take care of ourselves, not in a tough way, in a soft way.
Oh, sweet peas. We're getting some lovely comments in the chat. Just it says, wow, these are such great tips. Alex says, you folks are good. So thank you for that comment, Alex. And Eileen suggesting that cloak of self-compassion, which is really rather lovely. We'll wrap that around ourselves. I'm very aware that Vicky is a hot in demand today, special day, and she has to go to another exciting event in a moment. So whilst I know that it would be great to continue this conversation, and maybe we can continue this conversation somehow, somewhere in 2023, but for now, I just wanted to say a very, very big thank you. It is so exciting and wonderful to hear your voices. There's something special about you being live on the call with everyone. The resonance of your presence is really gorgeous. I'm obviously biased because I know you both very well, but I really do feel it has come through these magic screens, and I know you've gone out of your way to carve some time to be here. That's really, really precious. So thank you both very much for everything you've done for World Kindness Day, for Kind Mind Academy, what you do for the world, sharing such incredible common humanity, bringing people together and sharing happiness in a way that people just have to go and find out more about what you're doing. So thank you both very much. You're amazing.
It's a joy and honor to be here. Thank you.
See you again soon.
Thank you so much.